Hi, this is Lori.
And this is Jeremy.
And welcome back to our High Vibe Aloha channel. Today we have Jeremy as a guest. Woo! We're going to talk about our Alaska Cruise experience that we took in July with Abraham Hicks, the Abraham Hicks Cruise.
Yes, we're going to go over all of our favorite moments and our biggest takeaways for anyone wanting to go on a cruise or curious about what it's like to be on an Abraham Hicks cruise.
So Esther Hicks usually uses Celebrity Cruises as her cruise line for her seminars. And personally, I love Celebrity. I think that their service is great, the accommodations, food, and their excursions are fabulous. So we did a prior video on how we manifested this Abraham Hicks cruise. And if you haven't seen that video, you can watch it here. The cruise itself was fabulous, and it was the first time that Jeremy actually experienced an Abraham Hicks seminar. I had gone to an Abraham Hicks seminar when they were in Seattle, and it is sort of like that, but so much bigger because you are intermingling with the group throughout the cruise. The great part about it is the way that the Abraham Hicks tour is organized. So everybody who's part of the Abraham Hicks experience, we have our own private dining areas, so we all dine together. They create Abraham Hicks land tours. So if you want to go on a tour only with Abraham Hicks people, you can do that.
So throughout the cruise, there are 4 workshops, and they would normally happen on our sea days. So we'd all get together on these days, and it was so incredible to actually get to see Esther up on stage channeling Abraham. It was really interesting. It was very different than just hearing her audio because you got to actually see the change and feel the energy in the room, as well as everyone in the room adding to that experience.
So how the workshop is formatted is that everyone gets together in the theater, and Esther randomly calls people that are raising their hand to come into the hot seat so they can ask her a question or ask Abraham a question. And usually the questions somehow pertain to everyone, right? So they're general enough that most people can relate and can really vibe into the answer. So the whole session feels very interwoven, and session lasted a few hours, and there's an intermission in between. So there's a lot of time for you to meet your neighbors, get together with friends that you met at a previous session or at dinner, and just basically, relaxed enough that you can enjoy the experience. I had actually gone on a previous Abraham Hicks cruise with my older son, and some of the people that I met on that cruise actually told us about this cruise, and so Jeremy got to meet them as well on this cruise. And that's the part of the whole experience that is almost unexplainable. It is just a feeling of camaraderie that you have, and joyfulness really of having so many like-minded people in one place. You can just feel the vibration and the energy of the whole, of every session, of the dinners, of the excursions. And you never know who you're going to be with, right, on the excursion, because it's still like each person is picking whatever excursion they want. There's still a variety. So it was almost like, ooh, who's going to be on excursion today and who are we going to meet, right? So we had so much fun with that.
And between the dinners and the excursions, it felt like anyone that was a part of that Abraham group, you could just start a conversation with them and you could go for hours. There was so much to talk about. And because everyone was in this high vibing state, it was just flowing so beautifully. Between everyone we got to meet and all the friends we had along the way, it was incredible how it just consistently flowed. And there was a specific day that was just unbelievable how it flowed. It was literally like the entire day felt like a movie as we went on. Each next part of the day just perfectly segued into the next, and we didn't even know where we were going throughout the day. It just perfectly lined up as the day went on, and it was one of the most fantastic days we had on the whole cruise.
So true. It was as if each part was being formulated perfectly, like a puzzle piece falling into place. And it was really us meeting this friend group and that friend group and going from this conversation to that conversation. And it really just flowed. It was magical. I would say that day was actually magical.
It was incredible because I remember there was a point where we were on an excursion and one of the groups that we were friends with comes up and we make plans. And then right after that, we have another group of friends that come up and make plans exactly in time to where we can do both of them in a row. It was like unbelievable. And by the end of the day, we had an entirely packed schedule that we didn't even know we were doing.
And a packed schedule, not like, oh, so stressful going from here to there. It was like, magically flowing. Yeah, it was just like, wow, this flowed into this and this flowed into this. And yeah, it was a super day. And I think in fact it was on that day that this YouTube channel was born.
Yeah, the idea of this YouTube channel was born that day.
And here we are. So yeah, so it was really a magical time. If you're thinking about doing an Abraham Hicks cruise and you have that feeling, I would say, keep your antenna out and just see when the universe throws you clues like, oh, maybe now's the time. I believe Esther does one international cruise a year. She usually does Alaska every year and like the Caribbean every year. So there are a lot of, different options to choose from and different price points as far as the cost of the cruise.
Since it was my first Abraham Hicks cruise and I'm a little bit of a younger guy, I've grown up with this. Obviously, I've got the wise master right here my whole life, right? So since I was a little kid, I've been getting these lessons. But it was really interesting for me as someone from a younger generation to come in and see other people who have gone through life and are now really attached and really going into these ideas and these concepts of high vibing and attraction and getting into the vortex, right, as Abraham likes to say.
It's so funny because I actually had to chuckle because I think it was Jeremy's first experience of actually meeting other people, other people who actually, said the same things as, we've always told him his whole life. So it was almost like, maybe like, oh, coming home, like, wow, they're not the only ones.
It was like deja vu and like a movie because I'm like, man, I've heard this before. You know what I mean? I feel like I've heard this one many times throughout my life. And it was insane because everyone was really on the same page and at least had that open-mindedness to explore this and hearing other people's stories that confirmed it. Because for me, I've always heard her stories and the stories that are in my family. But, growing up in a younger generation, I feel like a lot of us are skeptical. So hearing other people's stories and hearing other people's experiences with the same thing of being able to be open to a high vibration and then having these magical things happen to you and, quote unquote, being in the vortex was really eye-opening to me that it wasn't a one-off. It's not just in my family. And there are other people that are experiencing the same thing, which just really validated the whole experience for me and the whole concept for me.
And I love that, right? I love the fact that there was reinforcement. So that was really validation and fun for me to see him blossom with all these concepts.
And another really expansive part of this all was we got to meet friends that were actually in our local area that we would have never met otherwise. And we got to share the concepts on the cruise and keep these ideas going as we've come back home and gotten back into our regular lives. So it's kind of expanded once again into regular life, right?
What's super fun is even if the people aren't in our area, so we've made friends from all over the world, we still keep in touch through WhatsApp and through messaging, through our YouTube channel. And it's been so much fun to watch each other grow and to, share our experiences together. So although you're on the ship for, like 7 days on the Alaska cruise, it really is the biggest takeaway is, the experience and the friendships that you make. Because in our daily lives, we meet people who might have things in common with us, like business, or we have real estate friends, we have different
hobbies.
Yeah, hobbies. But it's really a unique thing to have people who are in the same level of vibration with you. And that is the most unique part about the friendships that you develop. Yeah, it was a totally unique situation because a lot of times when you go on a cruise or whatever, the people and people are friendly, but it's not, this is like on a different level. Yeah, it's like immediate friends, like you know who they are, right? You see who they are beyond just, the outer wrappings. It's like you know their spirit almost. So yeah, it was super fun. Have you ever experienced anything like that before?
For me, it really hasn't been that same, everyone's flowing the same way, and like I said, the easiness, the ease and simplicity in everyone talking and getting along together. It was truly magical because as we're talking to people, more people join, people come through, and it felt like every time everyone fit right in. It was, like she said, a puzzle piece. It was incredible. And once again, being in a younger generation and in Seattle especially, it is a little foreign to have people just bounce in and immediately kind of click with the group. That has been something that I haven't really experienced in that same way as on the cruise.
Okay, so in conclusion, I would say the favorite part about this cruise for me was, of course, spending the time with Jeremy and the people we met, watching him expand and grow, watching myself expand and grow. I thought I was going on this cruise for him, right? I thought, oh, I can't wait till he meets, other people, like-minded people, etc. But as we met people and we both expanded, I actually came to the wow that I need to share my lineage and all the things I know with, energy work and things like that with you on YouTube. And that was a super big aha for me. So probably one of my favorite things was starting this YouTube channel and the people that we met.
Somewhat similarly for me, one of my favorite moments was seeing her come into this moment of getting more validation on the High Priestess lineage, because I have heard about this for the majority of my life. I've grown up with the stories of her going to Japan and this High Priestess energy that she has and having this kind of otherworldly intuition. But it was so beautiful for me to see her get that push to really share it, because for a long time she wasn't sure, was it going to be books, was it going to be talking, how was the message going to be shared? All she knew and that we knew was that the message was one day going to be shared, right? We didn't know how. And coming into this idea and actually meeting some friends on the cruise who were doing YouTube and kind of sparked this idea and this inspiration for us to possibly get on this platform, right, to share it, I could just see her light up with like, oh, aha, this could be it, right? This could be it. And being able to be a part of it is really cool for me as her son, For a long time, actually, we talked about doing a podcast. And when I was really little, like probably 8-10 years old, we actually would have conversations that were somewhat expansive conversations about these topics. And once again, her kind of subtly dropping these little hints of wisdom on me, right? But we actually had always talked about doing one day a podcast and kind of getting this message out, whether it was going to be public or just for us and the family. So eventually coming to this idea of YouTube was once again just like an aha for both of us. Like, oh my gosh, this is the platform that we could do it on. This is it.
Yeah, it was really amazing because I've always been really nervous to share a lot of this information and, being somewhat private. It's like, yikes, being on YouTube. But now with Jeremy, I feel like I can do it, right? Because we're doing it together and he is an integral part of it because he does all the editing and he's my producer. He tells me when I'm talking too fast, too much, etc. So it's been such a fun, creative experience for both of us.
Absolutely, absolutely. I feel like the second most impactful thing for me, once again, was being a part of the younger generation, really getting validation on these things and hearing these concepts through other people and kind of being able to bounce these ideas back, because it once again really solidified the idea to me that all of this is real and is possible. And all of these stories and energy techniques I've heard my whole life have validation, not only in myself, but through other people.
So anyway, that is a recap of the cruise. If you've ever been on an Abraham Hicks cruise, please write your experience in the comments below, or even an Abraham Hicks seminar, right? Like those daily seminars, because they're equally magical. The thing with the cruise is that it's so all-inclusive that day after day for 7 days, you're just submersed and surrounded by everyone who loves Abraham and Esther. So that's the great thing.
And with that, if you want to support this channel, the best way to do it is to hit that like button down below and the subscribe button. It really helps us get these videos out and keep this dream going on.
Thank you.
Mahalo.